Hello everybody, I hope you're having an amazing day, and today I would like to share with you guys my final thoughts on the Spyderco Manix 2 Lightweight. I purchased this unit completely on an impulse buy because I really wanted to check out a lightweight, and I thought this specific sprint run for Blade HQ, possibly other retailers, I don't know, but I did purchase this from Blade HQ. I thought that this was definitely going to be the one for me, but after only one day of carrying this thing, I've decided, yeah, I like the full thickness G10 one way better. Way better. There's still a lot of value in this, it being a Spyderco. If you guys haven't heard of Spyderco, well, let me break it down for you. Spyderco equals value, in my opinion. At least there's stuff that's made in the US. It's great stuff. Spyderco is one of my favorite brands. I have spent way too much freaking money at this point in time on Spyderco knives. But with that being said, I'm going to read off a couple important things about this guy. So this is actually still available, the recording of this video. I'm not super surprised by that because of the weird colorway and also the fact that this is uncoated M4. M4 is a wonderful steel. I absolutely love it. I actually have 3 or 4 other knives in M4, and it's awesome. Pretty straightforward to sharpen, but M4 is best when it's coated or has some form of protective layer on it. This doesn't. So it would definitely rust quite easily. If you live in an environment where it is relatively humid, you might start seeing a little bit of a patina. And people like that. Some people like a patina that occurs over time. But this is just going to have patina, happens a little bit faster to the point where it may actually start having some rust speckling before it has an actual patina, which would create a kind of natural-ish barrier. So it won't stay looking as nice and clean and shiny as it does. But me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of satin finish, but it undeniably, this blade shape and it being fully flat ground, super thin behind the edge, relatively thin stock, it's a slicing champion. It really is. And even coming out to the tip, it's not that thin. I think a PM2 might be a little bit thicker than that, or they might be the same. I'll show you guys in a second. But price on this, $116.95. Do I believe that this is worth that price? Yes, absolutely. But this is not the knife for me. I believe that is a steal for what you're getting, as long as you understand that you may have to do a couple extra things to maintain this blade in the ways of corrosion prevention, things like that. So I believe there's a couple different products that you can go and regularly put on your blade to protect it. I've even seen some people put just stick their knife into a potato and it oxidizes the blade a little bit and kind of gives it this weird funky patina look. It helps. It definitely helps, but rust spots can still happen even after that. So there's that. The overall length of this guy is 8 inches, blade length 3.37, cutting edge 2.95. So it looks like it's a big knife, right? And dimensions of it are a big knife, but the actual cutting edge is something that I definitely do enjoy. The cutting edge is actually going to be very similar to my ultimate favorite knife, which is the Native 5. And Native 5 has a little bit less cutting edge, but not by much. They're pretty darn close, so you're not really losing out on much. What you're gaining there is a whole lot more handle. And I didn't bother mentioning, I don't think they make a XL in a lightweight format. I think it might just be for the full G10 steel liner versions. But this feels like a big knife, but it cuts like a reasonably mid-sized knife. I like that. Blade thickness, 0.125, blade material, CPM M4, blade style, drop point, flat, satin, plain. That is color. It says green, mint, whatever. Weight, 3 ounces, and we will check that really quick. And made in the freaking USA. So stay away from Chinese-made Spydercos. No, not really. But I've had night and day difference between American-made Spydercos and the ones that are made in their other factories. 3 ounces. Look at that. This is so much freaking knife for 3 ounces. It's unbelievable. So a little ranting out of the way. Well, not so much out of the way, not like it's ever gonna stop anyway. Let's bust out a couple other Spydercos for size comparison. This is a PM2. And as I showed before, this is an 8-5. So, taking a little bit of a closer look here, different blade shapes, right? It's kind of like a blend between the two, in my opinion. You have a little rise here. You have a giant rise with the spine or the hump because of the hole, and this is completely curved. Right, so it's a little bit in between. It definitely does feel good in hand, especially when you're choked up. It genuinely does feel like an in-between blade shape, and I do definitely enjoy that, and I think that's why I love the full-size one so much. Feels good in hand, blade shape works amazingly, but the tip comes down further than the PM2, which I'll always end up using my manix versus my PM2, just because of that simple fact. They're both still incredible slicers, and honestly, I feel like they're both quite the same. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference between the two. Looking at the blade stock thickness, I think the PM2 is a little bit thicker, and the tips, no, the PM2, to my eye, the tip is a little bit thinner. So, I mean, I've said before that the PM2 isn't a knife that you should do any sort of like heavy tip work. This is a slicer through and through for sure. So there's that. Break out a couple more knives here. Benchmade Osborne 940. Is it shorter? Yeah, the 940 is just a hair shorter. Look at that. We got a bug out here. Definitely shorter. Again, this is a full-size freaking knife with a reasonable blade shape. So the blade, or excuse me, the cutting edge to handle ratio throws a lot of people off sometimes, right? Just like how it does with the Demco 80-20.5. You have so much handle, and even this halvesy finger choil area there that you can creep up on, but you have a smaller amount of cutting edge. I love this knife. I love actually using it. Out of all of my comparison knives, that's the one that I use the most because it's just that good. We have a Civivi Elementum, and that is, yeah, that was it. All right, so let's get into, I guess, the overall review, pretty much the end of this. This is a very, very simple knife. There's not much more that really needs to be said by it. The reason why it's not for me is because one big thing that you can do with almost every Spyderco model is you can modify it. Reasonably modify it, right? This, not so much. I did watch a handful of videos of people removing the rivets. This is a riveted construction, so there has been no disassembly. I love disassembling my knives. I couldn't even figure out how to take the blade out if I wanted to properly put a knife shield or some sort of corrosion preventing substance on it. I can't, I just don't know how to. I could take out the T8 pivot screws, and then nothing happens. Like I can't take it out. I don't want to take a pry tool to this and mess it up. So I haven't been able to modify the spring like I did on my full-size one. It's still very snappy. Eventually it'll break in for sure. It does sound and feel just as nice as my full-size one, but when my full-size one had its original length of spring, I did remove 2 small coils off of the spring overall, and it definitely made disengaging a whole lot more friendly to the fingers, especially because it's such a wonderful knife. I just constantly play with it, and it's so clicky sounding. I do definitely enjoy that. So this is more gonna be for somebody who doesn't care to take apart a knife. This is a very simple individual's knife right here, and it'll excel for that. This could very well be somebody's one and done knife, because with light use, of course, is with how light it is, really the only amount of structural integrity happens just from, you know, above my hand up, because everything else from down here, it's just FRN, it's plastic basically. And some people may not be the biggest fan of that. I, for a second, thought that this had at least some steel liners and that you were able to take it apart. I was wrong. I probably should have educated myself a little bit before actually going ahead and purchasing this. With that being said, I'm actually going to be selling this unit on nafsale.com. So my loss is anybody's gain. If you are interested, let me know. This guy was, it was 116. I'm probably gonna put it up for like 90 bucks. It saw 1 day of use at work, and I don't do anything super crazy at work. It's just plastic and cardboard. It's seen no actual wear, and it's still definitely hair shaving sharp. Factory edge still, of course, and I've just kept some just basic oil on the blade and just wiped it off, so nothing happens to it. I have tossed the original cardboard packaging, but I will definitely make sure to put a, what are those called, the little silicone moisture control packets in there, wrap it up, put it in a little bag, and box it up really well if you guys are concerned about receiving something like this in the mail. And it has been raining a lot where I'm at. It may still be snowing where you're at for all I know. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because there is definitely more content on the way. I know I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to putting out content on a daily basis. I really try to, but I have a lot of different hobbies. I also work a lot. And yeah, I got a lot of stuff doing on. This is I make videos out of pure passion and with whatever time I have left in my life. So if you're cool with that, go ahead and turn on your notification bell so you guys are notified of when I do release a video, so you guys can just hear my thoughts on some cool models and stuff like that. So with that all being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.